Today, we start on a somber tone because we learn that one of the guys who definitely is on the Mount Rushmore of NFL coaches, Hall of Famer Don Shula, passed away at the age of 90. Now, Shula is legendary, if for no other reason. The simple fact that in the 100-year history of the NFL, no coach won more games. His 347 total victories are 43 wins, or about 2.5 perfect seasons, more than Bill Belichick's, who's in third place, and George Halas, who is in second. And of course, Shula knew a thing or two about perfect seasons. His 72 Dolphins are still the only team to go undefeated in the regular season and win the Super Bowl, the first of his back-to-back titles with Miami. Those came just a few seasons after Shula, then coach of the Baltimore Colts, was on the losing side of the Joe Namath and the Jets' historic upset in Super Bowl III. In fact, Shula coached in 6 Super Bowls during his 33 seasons with the Colts and Dolphins. In those 3+ decades, he had a losing record only twice. He coached in a record 526 NFL games before retiring after the 1995 season in Miami. And the guy who followed Coach Shula with the Miami Dolphins, a member of the Hall of Fame himself and a longtime contributor here with us at Fox Sports, Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy, first of all, just your thoughts on the passing of Coach Shula.
Well, Curt, when you think of a football coach, you think Don Shula. He had the consistency being a head coach in the NFL for 33 years. And I don't think you'll ever see that again. He took over the Dolphins, a new franchise that had 4 losing seasons, and he immediately turned them into a winner, and he was a consistent winner. Again, I don't think you'll ever see a career like Don Shula. Again, one of the greatest coaches of all time.
You know, I mentioned that he retired in 1995, but he remained in that Miami area. You've been in South Florida yourself with the University of Miami, the Dolphins, and in retirement for almost 35 years now. Can you just talk a little bit about just the impact and what people felt about Coach Shula there? Because it was more than just football. I know he owned restaurants, but he was always a presence all around the city.
Well, you've got, Don Shula Freeway. You've got the Don Shula restaurants, you've got the Don Shula golf course, and I think people rally around a winner, and that's what Don Shula was. They had the undefeated season, and it's kind of a rallying point for all of South Florida. That's something they look forward to, and they look back to of having one of the greatest teams of all time.
I want to bring in Howie Long right now, and Howie, when you were with the Oakland Raiders, played many a game against Don Shula, coached Miami Dolphins team. He also coached you in the Pro Bowl. What's your thoughts about his impact on the NFL on the day of his passing?
Well, I'd like to echo Jimmy's thoughts. The consistency over such a long period of time was remarkable. You go back to the Colts and what he did there with Johnny Unitas and Earl Morrall and throwing the ball all over the yard, winning a Super Bowl, and, of course, the infamous Jets game. That was amazing. And then you go to Miami and he drafts a guy named Dan Marino, and they're also throwing the ball all over the yard, but fall short of getting there. But the championship team, the undefeated season, was really fascinating to me. Won a lot of close games. Greasy goes down, Morrall comes in. It's Zonk, Kick, Morris, Zonka, Kick, and Morris. Terry played Don's team that year, played the Dolphins. They got knocked out in the first half of that game, and I think they lost by 3 or 4. The highlight of the more recent years was probably beating the Bears in that, what at that point was the Bears team that no one seemed to know how to stop or play, and Marino carved them up, and it was really a highlight. My interactions with him were always really positive. The only place I ever saw him was really at the Super Bowl, but playing against his teams, they were always so well coached. And Ted, having played for him in Baltimore, told me a lot about him.
Ted Hendricks, the linebacker, played him with the Colts and then with you with the Raiders. Certainly a guy who will be missed. Don Shula, thank you, first of all, Jimmy Johnson, for joining us to talk about his memory today, because you weren't scheduled to be on the show. We appreciate it.
For the best access, perspective, and personalities in all of sports, follow us at Fox Sports on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.